He knows things. What if he's not coming for us? What if it's something else?
I volunteered because of a lie. This is Jason Bourne.
I need to talk.
32 kills. People are safer because of what you did. You're never gonna find any peace. Not till you admit to yourself who you really are.
Jason Bourne. Welcome to Red Reviews, of course covering American Spy. Jason Bourne returns to the big screen it's been a while since we've seen Jason Bourne on the big screen. Back in 2002, we got introduced to Mr. Jason Bourne. A little bit of a Bourne fan, not a huge Bourne fan, so I'm sure you're like, well, if you're not such a big Bourne fan, then why do you have all the movies? Well, we can't ignore some of the achievements that the Bourne movies have accomplished. Did kind of redefine sort of action there after the first one came out. So, and obviously I'm a movie collector, so I have to collect all the Bourne movies. Now, Jason Bourne, is it the return to form? Is it the movie we've been missing all these years? No, it's not the best one in the series, but it's not the worst one in the series. You can argue, everybody is subjective on film, so which is the worst one, which is the best one. I wouldn't even say Legacy is actually the worst one. I applaud Legacy for going in a whole new direction and focusing on a different agent of the Treadstone program. At least it was a breath of fresh air, especially in comparison to Jason Bourne, the new movie. I can nitpick right off the bat, and I don't like the fact that it's not the Bourne something. So for tentative purposes and to satisfy myself, we'll just call it the Jason Bourne, because all the rest of the movies have that formula, and so don't break formula now. And they don't break formula. Now, having said that, I'm going to go into a rant about how they should have broke the formula, as this movie is just like the other ones to a lot of degree. Is that a lot of the Bourne movies, except for Legacy, are like the same storyline, and it gets tedious and boring and repetitive. So here's Jason Bourne. He's always remembering things, even though at the end of the third one he's supposed to have his memory back. So he's still remembering things. He doesn't quite understand why he's joined the agency yet, as it's been a lie this whole time. So he's really discovering something he thought was true turned out to be not true. You know how a Bourne movie is the plots are very convoluted, and I couldn't even spot off some of maybe Supremacy. I couldn't tell you really the plot. Supremacy is probably my least favorite, so this at least ranks above that. But in this one, like all the others, Bourne is kind of off hiding. He doesn't want to be a part of the agency anymore. He just wants to be left alone. Why don't they get that? He just wants to be left alone. Just leave the guy alone. I can respect that. It's probably the weekend. He's had a long day at work. He wants to be left alone. I can respect that. But they don't leave him alone. He gets pulled back in, and obviously the agency just like, oh, Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne's back on it. He's probably coming after us. Jason Bourne did it. Jason Bourne's doing it. Got to stop him. Got to kill him. It's just like, no, just leave him alone. He's framed again for something. Oh, well, he's kind of got brought into this web, no pun intended, because his real name is David Webb. But we all know him as Jason Bourne. But he gets brought back into this sort of circus that is the agency, the CIA, spy business. And really, he doesn't want any part of being in it, but he gets dragged back into it. And just as soon as he approaches on the scene, everyone's like, that's Jason Bourne. Get him. We got to get him. And then you're thrown right back into Jason Bourne walking through crowds. He's listening on the radio. He's doing all that quick time Jason Bourne stuff. And we cut back to people at the the FBI or the agency or whatever agency they work for. It's sad that it's been 5 movies now, and I still don't know what agency they're working for. They're in Langley, so it must be the CIA. I don't know what else it could be. But there's always the team inside the room full of computers, and they're doing stuff, and they're trying to track them, and it's that back and forth again for like the 5th time, literally the 5th time in 5 movies. I was like, we're doing the same thing. I was hoping that we take a break from it, we'll come back, and then I was like, okay, we'll have a new movie. We'll have some new rules, have a new story. And I was like, no, it worked for the other ones. Let's do it all again. And again. And again. It's like, oh my gosh. So at that point, like in the first half of the movie, I was really upset that I was like, we're just doing the same thing again. And this may be a personal preference, but I cannot stand fast action. And what I mean by that is, and real started with the first Bourne movie, and then every movie started to copy it, is that when you have a fight sequence, instead of like holding on the action, we have to move it back and forth. Now bear with me. This is what a Jason Bourne action sequence is like, and then everybody started to copy it afterwards, and this is what it's like watching it. You're just like, this doesn't make my review. I mean, I got to apologize, but that doesn't make my review better, and that doesn't make the movie better when you constantly keep whip panning back and forth like that. And it's like in the editing room for this movie, they were under strict guidelines to never hold on a shot or keep the same shot on the screen for more than maybe 2 seconds before cutting to something else. And they were pretty much that. They were given free reign to cut to whatever they wanted to, whether it was like an establishing shot, a crowd shot, a face of someone in the crowd, a phone. And when you're trying to read text on a phone, and they do it throughout the entire movie to pull out the phone, you got to read the text on it real fast. And then what you're whip panning the camera around, I can't read. I can't read what's on the phone, and then I'm missing information that Bourne has that I'm supposed to have. So I guess it's supposed to make the movie more kinetic, like it's flowing, on the move. And just, Mad Max was always on the move too, and we didn't have to whip pan around all the time to feel like the story was continually fast-paced. That doesn't give your movie fast-paced. It actually gets really annoying. So they do this chase sequence at the beginning, or towards the beginning, on a motorcycle when they're in Greece, and it looks like there's some kind of rebellion against the government going on or something. There's riots everywhere, and it was legitimately pissing me off that I couldn't focus on one thing or another, and they did it throughout the entire movie. And the last chase sequence, other than that, I had no complaints. That's probably the best part of the movie. And you see it in the trailer when there's this huge SWAT armored vehicle plowing through police cars and street cars, and that would have been really cool. It would have amped it up a little bit more had you just held on the shot. And that would be my two main nitpicks for this movie is lack of originality. Is they really said, well, it's not broke, so let's not fix it. Let's just retread right down the same storyline. We'll just swap out little pieces. Throughout the whole trilogy, it's a trilogy, and then we have Legacy. But now, even moving into the fifth one, we had Treadstone, we have Blackbriar, now we have Iron Hand. It's just like, just pull this piece out and put a similar piece in it. We had Brian Cox, who was running it and trying to track him down. And then I can't remember the one guy, Noah Vosa, in the third one, but I can't remember the actor's name. And now we have Tommy Lee Jones playing a character, and they're all the same characters. It's like, let's hunt Bourne down. We got to get Bourne. Everybody wants to be the one that traps Bourne, that gets Bourne. You're just like, just leave the guy alone at this point. So that's my nitpick, is that everybody is just playing a version that's already been played. And like all the other ones, there's always this weird B-level story happening in the background. In the first one, it was Wombosi, I believe, the guy that Bourne tries to assassinate. And there was an oil tycoon in one of them. And, I can't even remember what happens in the other one. This one, it's a tech conglomerate using software that's going to read all of our devices, and the government wants in on that because there's going to be ultimate surveillance. And the same story we've seen in, all the other spy movies like that now is this, security is the big thing. Skyfall did it. Mission Impossible did it. Now Jason Bourne is doing it. So, and I think I mentioned in an earlier YouTube review, as we got Jason Bourne, Jack Bauer, and James Bond, the JB trifecta. And I think they've all now covered it. I think 24 Live Another Day did it, and now Skyfall has done it, and now Jason Bourne has done it. So they're all doing the same storyline, and now there's a complete lack of originality. Now I've seen it twice before, and now Jason Bourne doing it again, on top of not doing anything new really in a storyline. Some fun action sequences here and there, but this movie comes in a little over 2 hours long. It didn't need to be, because there's a legitimate 25 minutes, I feel, of them walking around the hotel in Vegas before you're just waiting to get to that final chase sequence, because you see in the trailer, it looks badass, and you want to get to it. But they're walking around, so you're watching the villain walk around, you're watching Bourne walk around, you're seeing the crowds doing their things. But literally, there was a kid in front of me, and he started bouncing around in his seat. And usually I would be like, hey, quit that shit. But I couldn't fault him for that, because I was about to start bouncing around in my seat. And I was like, something happened. Please let something happen soon. So there were some down moments in this movie. The whip panning of the camera, the fast-paced editing wasn't doing anything for me except getting on my nerves. But other than that, and a lack of originality. I know it sounds like I'm dogging on this movie, but I came out of the theater overall, and I was like, meh, it's an entry into the series. Like I said, it's not the worst ones. It's not the best ones. If you're going to watch a Bourne movie, stick to the first one. First one at least has that mystery behind it of who is Jason Bourne. And now that we've really solved that question, they're just like trying to bring up different questions for him to answer, because even though he supposedly remembers it all, he doesn't know it all, and so he's just retreading old ground. So go check out the Jason Bourne, or just Jason Bourne now, but I'm going to call it the Jason Bourne, because when you line them all up on your shelf, and now there's going to be that weird one that doesn't follow the setting that you've established. So if you're a Bourne fan, you're going to love it, because it's a return to form, especially if you didn't like Legacy. You got Matt Damon back, you got Paul Greengrass, the director, but if you're like me and you just can't stand that whip panning fight sequences and action, you're not quite sure what you're looking at, and it does happen quite a bit in this movie, is once in a while you're not sure, like during the chase sequences, they'll switch to the gear shift, and then the pedal, and then driver, and then an establishing shot that has nothing to do with anything, and then back to Bourne, and then back to the villain, and then do a helicopter, and just like, whoa, just keep it. If you just keep it focused on what we should be focusing on, it makes the action that much tighter. Having it move like that, as I said, doesn't make it better. Having the camera move faster, having quick edits, doesn't give us a sense that things are moving faster. It just gives us hard to focus on, because we keep having to constantly readjust and reevaluate and try and figure out even like the geography of where we are in the chase sequence. So that would be my problems with this movie. But like I said, there's some solid action sequences. It's fun to see Matt Damon back as Bourne. But if you're going to watch a Bourne movie, I just go back and watch the first one. That one has the legendary car chase, and it's a fun establishing of who the character, who Bourne is. And with the first one, the formula wasn't as stale yet, with the people sitting in the room on the computers hunting him, the spies going after him. So everything was fresher then, but by the fifth movie in the series, we are getting kind of stale. So Jason Bourne, I'm going to go ahead and just rank it a C. It's an average one inside the pantheon now of Bourne movies. The saga, I guess we can say, of Bourne movies. We've hit 5. I don't know if they'll move on from this. They kind of mention dropping hints at the end that he may return to the agency. He may not return to the agency. We don't really know. That intrigues me, because I want to see Bourne come back. And the whole movie, I was like, oh, don't come back to the agency. Don't go back and work for him. That would suck. But then at the end, the possibility of him going back and like being marched down the hallway of the agency, and it's like, I'm back to work, and just like the looks he would get would be exciting. And the way they play it up is like, we need you because you're the best to protect us. And he'd be like in a James Bond role. And it would be fun to see Jason Bourne go on a mission. For the ultimate spy in these movies, he's never really been on a mission per se, or at least in the first one, but he failed. So he's never really been on a mission to defend us. He's always been on a mission to bring down what the bad guy is in the story, but never a mission to save the day, protect America. And I think that would be cool to see Jason Bourne on an actual mission, doing actual spy stuff. So go check out Jason Bourne, and I'll catch you guys next time right here on Red Reviews.